Hi, everybody. What an act to follow. That was so awesome and ties in so well to what I'm about to talk about. My name is Annie. I am a speech pathologist with Bridging Voice. Thank you for joining me today as I discuss eye tracking and ALS. What is the recipe for success? We want to talk about today how we as clinicians can help people with ALS optimize eye tracking technology. First, a bit about Bridging Voice. We are a nonprofit dedicated to helping those with ALS maintain communication and technology access. We were founded in 2019, so we're fairly new, but we've had the good fortune to work with over 3,000 people with ALS across the world. We've been able to have such a wide reach because we provide all of our services remote, and we also provide all of our services completely free of charge. There's no limit on the amount of support that we can provide. We work with our clients to educate them on their options related to technology and access, identify their goals, assess their needs, train clients and caregivers on various tools, and we create custom solutions to keep clients communicating and connected. We also host free webinars, provide support to practitioners, and have started a weekly office hours, which has been very fun there. So a quick map of our global reach. While we are primarily focused in the US, for our international audience, I wanted to highlight that we have clients in 6 of the 7 continents, totaling 23 countries. And here's our map of our US reach. We're just missing North Dakota. So if anyone here knows anyone in North Dakota or Antarctica, please send them our way. All right, so we wanted to ask this question, right? Because we know across our client database and for people with ALS across the world, we know the ability to communicate directly impacts safety and quality of life. And given that many, many people with ALS end up needing AAC, and specifically eye tracking, we wanted to ask how successful can people with ALS be with eye tracking? And more importantly, what factors can influence this success? The hope in answering these questions is that we can give people with ALS the best chance at maintaining their communication, connection, and staying engaged with what's important to them. So in this study, we looked back at 345 clients who had been referred to Bridging Voice. They were assessed by our team and determined to need a speech-generating device with eye tracking. We then grouped this 345 into successful users, unsuccessful users, and non-users. So successful users, of the 345, these were people who received an eye tracker and ongoing care from Bridging Voice staff. These users, at the very least, could type for communication or use a phrase-based layout to communicate. And we determined that they were successful if they had 2 to 3 observed sessions of intentional use of their eye tracker by a Bridging Voice staff member, along with self and caregiver report. We want to be very clear that the majority of these users go way beyond this basic communication, but this was our baseline, and this totaled 216 people. Our next group were the unsuccessful users, and these are people who had been given eye trackers, had been provided remote training and support and customizations, but still could not reliably communicate with their eye tracker. And this group, fortunately, only totaled 16 people. And then finally, we have our group that we called our non-users. So these were clients who were recommended eye trackers, but we were never able to have sessions with these people to document their success or use. This happened for a few reasons, but the biggest reason was that people passed away before they received their eye tracker. And this group amounted to 123 people. So this left us with a total of 232 eye gaze users. 216 successful users, only 16 unsuccessful users, giving us a 93% success rate, which we find pretty incredible, especially when we consider that reports of abandonment of communication technology can be at 60% or more. In general, the common belief is that eye tracking is challenging and not successful. However, we know that this is not the case, and we're seeing a really high success rate across a very diverse population. So we wanted to explore what are the factors that influence this. All right, so first let's look at failure. What causes people to fail? We were able to look through all of our clinical notes with these patients, and we found that they often faced multiple barriers. Most of these clients were very critically ill, and their medical needs tended to dominate their time and energy. Often we found that they had very poor caregiver support and reduced motivation to really engage and communicate. We also did note that some had significant eye health issues like cataracts and ptosis, and some eye tracking that we think is related, some eye tracking issues we think related to high doses of medications. These issues often limited participation, and I think that the really important part of understanding this is that we can identify these as potential risk factors and hopefully avoid this in the future through earlier engagement with technology. And we also wanted to know, of these groups, do any common population characteristics influence success or failure? So we looked at demographic data of age, gender, education, computer experience, glasses, ventilation use between successful and unsuccessful users, and we found no positive correlation. So these common characteristics do not predict success or failure. We have clients in their 80s and 90s eye tracking away on Facebook, and it's awesome there. So we know that people can be successful. What leads them to that success? After reviewing our 216 successful users and hundreds of service notes, we feel that the recipe for success is education, training, unlimited support, and specialized customizations. We, as clinicians, must provide comprehensive education to people with ALS and their care teams on the power and the possibilities of speech-generating devices and eye trackers. This education helps clients to identify their priorities and goals so that we can really focus on the aspects of the tech that are most meaningful and useful for the user. Once this is identified, we need all hands on deck for training, right? Of course, we need to train the user, but we have to include their support team so that they can successfully get the tech in front of the client and help them troubleshoot when needed. We think remote support is especially invaluable. Working with clients with this technology in their primary environment that they're using it allows us to do the best setup that we can, and eliminating that burden of travel is huge for ongoing participation in training sessions. Our last ingredient is specialized customizations. These are high-level, advanced programs that are not standard within the communication softwares. And support and customization are two factors we have a lot of data on, so I want to look at that. So this is our slide about support here, and we looked back at the amount of time that our eye tracking clients received with Bridging Voice staff. So on average, our successful users received almost 11 hours of live support across 10 sessions. Our unsuccessful users received only 1/3 of this number for time and length of sessions. So the discrepancy here is not because we stopped offering care or we didn't try to engage patients, but rather these people were only able to participate in a few sessions because of the late stage that they received the device and or poor caregiver involvement to help facilitate. Successful users also received their 11 hours of care over the course of weeks and months. And we think this is real, and even years in some cases. And we feel that this is really important for people to understand. Being able to provide this support over time allows the users and caregivers to actually engage with the technology, and us providing that skilled intervention along the way ensures continued use across disease progression and as eye gaze and skills grow and interests grow, right? So we can make sure that the technology stays useful for them. A quick story, I had a client in this cohort that I evaluated, and she was recommended, she received a Tobii Dynavox i13. She was doing fabulous with it, communicating, texting, playing Candy Crush, all the things. But then after a few months, she started to really struggle in the evenings. And we figured out that she was starting to suffer from dry eye. So we worked together and with her eye doctor to figure out an eye drop regimen, but we also gave her one of these specialized keyboards for use at night, so that even though her calibration degraded and her accuracy degraded at night, she could still type to communicate and tell people what she needed. Fortunately, she doesn't need that anymore. The dry eye has resolved, but had she not had a team to go to for this care, months into her use, who knows if she would have been able to continue using it. Customization is so essential for success. Of course, every user gets basic customizations, right? Like layout, calibration, all that good stuff. All of our clients need this. But when we looked back at our successful eye gaze users, we saw that 28% required these advanced customizations. And again, these are customizations built by our computer programmers in direct response to eye tracking issues that people with ALS were encountering. So these include translation programs and bespoke layouts to improve accuracy and solutions for internet and phone control. These advanced changes are often what make use of the eye tracker efficient and effective, and without them, communication would be highly limited. So why might we need all of these customizations, right? There are many factors that can influence how well an eye tracker responds to a user. So for example, we've seen many cases where cataracts, a history of LASIK and dry eye diminish the accuracy of eye tracking, and also some medications that people with ALS use sometimes affects eye movement. So here we have pictured two calibrations where you can see that the accuracy of the calibration is negatively impacted. In these clients, it was due to baclofen use. There are also issues with language, right? Not all languages are represented in the communication softwares that are available. We've also found that these customizations can help those with cognitive changes access technology as well. What we really want to impress upon you is that these factors should not stop someone from accessing a device. It just may require more than what you find in the standard software package. And so let me show you some examples of this. Of the non-standard layouts here. So we have dozens of incredible customizations. They're all completely free. They're on our website. We share them all the time. But since we're an international audience, I wanted to highlight those that we have related to language. So on the left here, you'll see a Korean keyboard that copies the characters and sends them to Notepad in Windows, and then uses the Windows language pack to speak out in Korean. On the right, you'll see that this is a combination where we have a keyboard in Arabic in a large two-step format, so for someone whose eye tracking had been negatively impacted. So the targets were very large, but also we were able to build in a delay because this client required a very short dwell time. So she had a 0.3 second dwell. She would click, the eye tracker would pause, which would then allow her eyes to traverse the screen and select her next target without a bunch of accidental activations. So these customizations are game changers here. And then next, I want to show a quick video of our translation software.
This was designed originally for a patient who had a caregiver who only spoke Russian, and the patient only spoke English. And there was this breakdown in communication. So we designed for him a Tobii board using a helper program where he can type whatever he wants. Hello, please help. And when he hits translate,
Здравствуйте, помогите, пожалуйста.
The computer automatically translates it and speaks it out in Russian. This is based on using a Google API, which the helper programs copy the text from the message window, send this text to Google Translate, and get back an audio or text of the desired language. It's available in almost any language, male or female voice, and at any rate of speech.
So that's a favorite program. We use it all the time there. So in conclusion, our analysis really speaks volumes. 93% of our clients were successful with their eye trackers. It's an exceptional outcome, if we do say so ourselves. The review of our clients revealed that we really should never let common bias predict success. And really, this recipe for success, it's not a secret recipe, right? With education, good support, lots of training, and specialized customizations, speech-generating devices with eye tracking can empower the vast majority of individuals with ALS, reaffirming our commitment to ensuring communication as a fundamental right. And so here is our contact information. Oops, I turned it off. I don't know. We're at bridgingvoice.org. Please reach out to us. We're happy to help anytime. There we go. There. So thank you all.
Thank you. That was really great. I know we work with you at our clinic. We have clients that have worked with you, so we, of course, think that they're really terrific. I also thought as I was watching this, I love the customization of that with the changing in the language. And I also love the fact that you were able to change the keyboard when there was a change in function later in the day. Like that is really, we see that so often. So I thought that was really key. Yes. Of course, I might have some questions, but we'll see if the audience does first. Oh, Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm an OT from Australia. I've actually spoken to your boss online a few times. We have like good little chats. I just wanted to say great presentation. It was actually really validating for me that, because we're so far away from you guys and everyone, but actually what we're doing and what our instincts are about eye tracking is what you found in your research, so that was brilliant. Awesome. The only thing I would want to know is with your translation service, which I've seen on the Toby Dynavox Facebook page when Natcham posts it, is it available for us to have help with that in Australia? Because we literally last week had this kind of scenario where there was a gentleman who was from Vietnam and he didn't really read English, but he could type in Vietnamese, but he wanted to speak to people in English. And we were like trying to get the Vietnamese voice to like go into Google Translate and another phone, and I was just going around in circles. And I was like, that's what we need.
Yes, we are absolutely happy to share. And we, even though we are based in the US, we're happy to support anyone, anywhere. We just, unfortunately, are not a bilingual staff. So as long as we have someone who can help with translation and everything, then we are set. So yes, please reach out. We're happy to help.
There's a question here.
Yes. Hi, Annie. I'm Kim. I've talked to you a couple times already. You are full of a wealth of knowledge. I love all the eye pathology that you put on there, and eyelid droop. That's always difficult. This is a new one for me, but some of my African American patients have really dark irises where their pupils kind of meld in, and that infrared tracker can't pick up their pupil. And I have a woman coming in 2 weeks, and she is lovely. And I've already struggled with her with 2 Toby devices. Do you find another company to be more helpful?
I think that's a great question. I always think that people should try multiple eye trackers and multiple softwares, regardless of how their eyes function. Every software looks a little different. interacts with people a little different, so definitely try multiple eye trackers. Also, you can try modifying some of the layout in terms of, for example, making the screen dark to see if we could make the pupil larger and make it easier for the reflection to pick up. Also, some of these customized layouts that I was speaking about that improve accuracy can be really helpful because you don't need a perfect calibration to be a good typer. So there's lots of settings that we can change, lots of boards that we can give you to trial. So we're happy to assist in cases like that as well. And we want clinicians to have these tools in their pocket to use.
Great. And then one follow-up.
Sure.
Do you prefer meeting with the SLP prior to the consultation with the patient to download some of those things ahead of time, or do you work in real time with like new evaluations?
We're happy to do both. We use a program called TeamViewer to remote into the Windows-based devices, and we're able to modify and change things really quickly for clients.
Okay, I love you guys.
All right, we're going to take the online question, and then we're going to
Bribed her.
move on.
Hi. We actually have 2 questions if we can get through them. So Pamela says, amazing work. What are some of the most frequently asked questions you get during weekly office hours?
Our office hours crew is awesome. They are like the best eye gaze users. And a lot of times we have questions around really high level tech access, like how do I get my iPhone to be controlled on my Windows device, or how do I integrate different voices? So there's really a wide variety of topics, but it's really, really useful for anybody to join into.
Great, thank you. And lastly, we have a question from Karen, who says that she loves the translation component. Is it possible to have multiple translations in the same program so that the person living with ALS can communicate in one language to family, yet in another language to a caregiver who speaks another language?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
That's what I was thinking of, being here in Montreal with the French and the English.
Yes, I need it for myself.
Thank you so much.